Hey everyone! Welcome back to our Business Analysis for Career Switchers and Newcomers series. I'm really excited you're here. This is where we break down business analysis so simply that a teenager could explain it back to you. In our last episode, we talked about the three main types of business analysts. Let's recap. We looked at functional BAs. They work closely with business units and users to figure out what needs to change and how. We also talked about technical BAs. They bridge the gap between what the business wants and how the technology team builds it. And we talked about strategic BAs. They look at the big picture. They connect business goals, market trends, and strategic initiatives to make sure the company is heading in the right direction. Think of it like planning a road trip. The strategic BA decides the destination, the functional BA maps out the route, and the technical BA makes sure the car is roadworthy and tuned up. So, how are we going to unpack all of this? We're starting with the functional business analyst because that's where many people begin their BA journey, especially when switching careers. Then we'll dive into technical BAs, and finally, wrap up with the strategic BA, where we'll tie it all together with real-life examples. Here's what we call a decomposition diagram. It's just a fancy term for breaking big ideas into smaller parts. At the lower level, you see the three main BA types. Simple, right? Today, we're going to zoom in right here on the functional business analyst. But guess what? Even this has layers. Functional BAs come in different shapes depending on where they work and what they specialize in. We can break functional BAs down into two main buckets. Industry-based BAs. These are folks who focus on specific industries like healthcare, finance, or education. Whilst functional area BAs specialize in certain business functions like HR, sales, and CRM, or supply chain. For example, a healthcare BA might work in a hospital, helping to improve patient admission processes. This is an industry-focused BA. A finance BA might work at a bank, streamlining loan approval workflows as an industry-focused BA, or work in the finance department of a manufacturing company as functional area BA. And a CRM or sales BA might help a sales team make better use of customer data. So you see, it's not one size fits all. It's about matching your skills and interests to the area that suits you best. All right, now you have the big picture. Next up, we'll take a closer look at each of these functional BA subtypes, what they do day to day, and how you can align your career goals with them. Grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's keep going. All right, let's start at the top of the functional BA tree, the Generalist Business Analyst. Think of a Generalist BA as your classic all-rounder. They work across different projects, departments, or even industries, picking up the business needs, understanding processes, and helping teams turn ideas into workable solutions. One month, a Generalist BA might help HR improve their employee onboarding process. The next month, they could jump into sales to figure out how to shorten the sales cycle. They're like detectives, always asking, what's the problem? Why does it happen? How can we fix it in a way that works for everyone? A typical day for a Generalist BA could include running workshops with different teams to understand what's really happening on the ground, observing how a process actually works, not just how it's written in the manual, documenting requirements in clear, simple language so both business and IT teams understand, testing solutions before they go live to make sure they solve the problem without creating new ones. Let's say an insurance company wants to digitize its paper claim process. The Generalist Business Analyst might sit with claim handlers to see how they fill out forms today, spot bottlenecks, and then work with developers to design an app that automates data entry and cuts processing time. Pretty cool, right? Now, what makes a great Generalist BA? Here are some must-have skills, and these form the foundation for all BAs. Critical thinking, BAs see patterns, root causes, and the real problem behind the symptoms. Active listening. BAs truly hear what people are saying and what they're not saying. Facilitation skills. Ability to run effective meetings and workshops that get everyone involved. Communication skills. BAs translate business needs into clear, actionable requirements that both non-technical and technical people understand. Adaptability. Generalist BAs must be ready to switch gears when topics or priorities change, because they often do. A good BA masters the art of context switching and prioritizes work to maximize productivity. Relationship building. Build trust with stakeholders from frontline staff to senior managers. And don't forget the soft skills that keep everything together. Empathy. so you understand people's real frustrations. Diplomacy, so you can manage conflicts when different teams want different things. Curiosity, so you keep asking why until you get to the root of the problem. Now, how do you actually become a generalist functional BA? Here are some practical steps. Start with your existing domain knowledge. If you've worked in HR, sales, or customer service, great! You already understand how things work in that area. Learn BA techniques. Practice requirements gathering, process mapping, and stakeholder analysis. You can even use small projects at work. Get comfortable with documentation. Practice writing clear, simple requirements. Build your soft skills. Volunteer to run meetings or take notes, even if they're small. Network with other BAs. Join local BA meetups or online communities to learn from real stories. Shadow a BA in your company. This builds your experience step by step. Now, you might wonder, if generalist BAs are so flexible, why are more companies asking for specialist BAs? Good question. Here's why. Projects are more complex than ever. It takes time to learn a new domain, and some projects just can't wait. Companies want BAs who already speak the language of the industry, whether that's healthcare, finance, or supply chain. Specialization cuts down the learning curve, reduces mistakes, and speeds up delivery. But don't worry, some people start as generalists and gradually specialize as they discover what they love most. It's a journey, and you don't have to have it all figured out right away. So remember, these generalist BA skills are your core toolkit. When we talk about other BAs in our later episodes, like technical or strategic BAs, we'll just build on these basics with extra skills that are unique to each role. All right, that's our deep dive into the generalist functional BA. Up next, we'll explore different industry-based functional BAs, so you can see how your own experience might fit in. Stick around. It's going to get even more interesting. All right, now that we've explored the generalist BA, let's dive into the next branch, the industry-based functional business analyst. These BAs focus on a specific industry. They speak its language, understand its challenges, and know the rules and jargon inside out. Why does this matter? Well, the more complex an industry is, the more valuable it is to have a BA who gets the details without needing months to learn the basics. Let's start with one of the biggest and most rewarding areas, healthcare. A healthcare BA might work in a hospital, a nursing home, or for an in-home care provider. Imagine you're helping a care provider coordinate nursing visits for elderly clients at home. As a BA, you'd look at things like, how do nurses get assigned to clients? How are care plans updated and shared? What happens when appointments get canceled or rescheduled? You'd shadow nurses, talk to admin staff, map out the current process, and spot delays or manual errors that put patient care at risk. For example, maybe there's a paper form that gets lost too often. You could design a digital system that nurses can update on their tablets in real time, improving accuracy and saving hours each week. It's not just about processes. You'd also make sure new solutions meet strict healthcare privacy laws, like protecting patient data. So, a healthcare BA needs a strong grip on compliance too. Next up, another exciting industry, logistics and supply chain. Think about how your online shopping order travels from a warehouse to your doorstep. That's a whole network of trucks, inventory systems, delivery partners, and guess who makes that run smoother? Yep, the logistics BA. A logistics BA might analyze delivery routes to save fuel and time, streamline warehouse processes to reduce errors in packing and shipping, work with drivers to understand real-world roadblocks like traffic delays or unclear drop-off instructions. For example, you might discover that drivers often miss deliveries because customer addresses are outdated. Your BA solution? Work with the application development team to create a system that verifies addresses automatically, saving thousands in failed delivery costs. Of course, healthcare and logistics aren't the only industries that need BAs. Here are a few others. Insurance BAs. Improve claims processing, reduce fraud, and keep customers happy. Banking and finance BAs. Optimize loan approvals, online banking apps, and compliance with regulations. Education BAs. Help schools and universities digitize student records and learning platforms. Utilities BAs. Support projects like smart metering and billing systems. Some of these overlap with functional units, like finance, so we'll unpack those later when we cover the functional area BAs. But for now, remember, If you've worked in any of these industries, you already have a huge head start as an industry BA. So, whether you're helping nurses spend more time caring for patients instead of filling out paperwork, or making sure your next parcel arrives on time, industry BAs are the glue that holds these improvements together. They know the industry's unique pain points and help design solutions that fit real-world conditions. And here's a pro tip. Companies love hiring BAs with industry knowledge because it shortens the learning curve. Time is money, and if you already understand the business rules, terminology, and risks, you're way ahead of the game. That's why some BAs stay in one industry for years, becoming trusted advisors for the business and IT teams alike. So, if you're thinking about your path, ask yourself, what industries do I already know? Maybe you worked as a nurse, a logistics coordinator, or in insurance. That insider knowledge is your superpower. Pair that with the core BA toolkit, requirements gathering, process mapping, facilitation, and you're halfway there. Don't worry if you're not familiar with any of the skills and techniques in this toolkit, because we've got you covered in our upcoming BA Toolkit series, where we'll break down the practical tools and techniques every business analyst should know, with practical examples you can apply immediately. All right, that's our tour of the industry-based functional BA. In our next episode, we'll explore the other side. Functional area BAs, the specialists who focus on specific business functions like HR, CRM, and more. Trust me, you'll see opportunities you never knew existed. So, what does this mean for you? Think about your own experience. Which industries do you understand best? Where do you see opportunities to make things better? Start there. Your domain knowledge is your biggest asset, whether you're coming from nursing, customer support, logistics, or finance. You already have context that companies value. Build on it. Here's what you can do next. Identify your strongest industry domain knowledge. Brush up on your BA techniques. Process mapping, stakeholder analysis, and requirements documentation. Build your meeting facilitation skills. Get familiar with the key systems in your area. Workday, Salesforce, SAP, or whichever applies. Don't worry about becoming an expert overnight. Familiarity goes a long way. Connect with other BAs in that space. Join online groups, attend meetups, or find a mentor. Volunteer for BA-type tasks at work. Run workshops, capture requirements, map a process. You'll build real examples for your resume. Your work experience is a superpower. You just need to add structure with proven BA techniques. That's where our next series comes in. You're not starting from scratch. You're repackaging what you know in a way that makes you even more valuable. Just like when upgrading your home with renewable energy. Your journey to a renewed future starts now. All right, you did it. You now understand the world of industry-focused functional business analysts. In our next episodes, we'll tackle the functional area business analyst. So stick around. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us grow and bring you more practical, real-world BA guidance. And share this with someone who's ready to step into a business analyst role. They'll thank you for it. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning, and remember, your curiosity is your greatest asset. See you in the next episode.